So if I got access to this cupboard, I would know that this 1x1 over here could not contain another tool cupboard because it's within 8 foundations of the other cupboard. However, this one over here could have a cupboard in it because it's over 8 foundations away. Always be thinking about where the next tool cupboard is. So when you're scouting for a base, you're looking for something easy to raid tower onto, because that's going to be the easiest way to get the loot. Look for a base that's at least 8x8. If the base is smaller than an 8x8, you probably aren't going to be able to raid tower onto it, so don't even attempt it. Here I found a 10x10 square base. Now this is like the ideal base to raid. If you compare it to something like this, where it's circular, it's much harder to raid tower onto. Always go with the wide base. As you should know, tool cupboards can also be stacked. So you can have another tool cupboard every other floor. So once you think you've found your base, you can actually check to make sure that the cupboards aren't stacked. All you have to do is build a raid tower up, and then try to build out at the top. The main tool cupboard will only extend about 8 foundations up, so if you can't extend your raid tower, the owner has most likely stacked tool cupboards. So you've scouted, found your base, and you've checked that it's not stacked tool cupboards. You need to prepare a raid base. This is what you're going to need to make a raid base. I'm bringing 3 doors and a hatch, as well as 2 cupboards, a good amount of wood, stone, metal, and a bed. Now this base I'm going to build is really minimalistic, and if you're not solo, then I would recommend adding another layer of honeycomb. I just want you guys to make sure to stack your tool cupboards and put your loot on a high floor. So I'm just going to make it 2x2 right now, and then honeycomb off the 1st and 2nd floors, while leaving a spot to climb up a hatch to the 3rd floor. And then all the loot's going to be on the 3rd floor as well as the 2nd tool cupboard. I place the upper cupboard, and then go down, place the main cupboard, and wall it off. So here's a walkthrough of a very minimalistic raid base. Once you've built your raid base, you need to bring materials, rockets, and C4 over. You should bring at least 5,000 wood to raid tower, a stack of metal to craft things, at least 2,000 stone to upgrade, ladders, only bring enough rockets and C4 that you think you'll need to raid tower onto the base. You can always come back and grab extra. Explosive ammo to take out hatches and sheet metal doors. Food and some extra syringes. If you have an extra slot, bring a sleeping bag because you might get building privilege inside of the base. When you're ready to raid, target an external tool cupboard that's closest to the base. To be sure you can raid tower, the external should be within about 4 foundations of the base. Also, if the base doesn't have external tool cupboards, then you can just start making a raid tower raid base at this point. So I decided to take this tool cupboard. It looks like about 3 foundations from the base. I should easily be able to raid tower onto the base using this one. When you're C4ing the cupboard, always do it from the back side, so the privilege of the main cupboard won't reach over here and you can still seal it up. Most bases externals require 4 or 64. Once you get the cupboard, be sure to clear it, then get privilege and seal it off. Try to keep the building grades uniform, so if it's stone, replace it with stone walls, and metal if it's metal. So if counter raiders come, they have no idea that you've blown into that cupboard. Immediately after taking the tool cupboard, start making a 2x1 raid tower raid base. Seal it off on the bottom so no one running up can easily jump in. Unless you can build straight onto the base like in this situation, but you have to be sure it's clear around you and remember to shoot down the twig. So sometimes there's a suspicious small structure next to the main base. It could be a starter base, which could contain the main tool cupboard. It might be worth it to plop 2 C4 or 4 rockets on it and see what the privilege is like. Here I'm going to use 4 rockets on the top so I can take out all 3 roofs at once. This cupboard actually gave me privilege to build right onto the base. You might come across larger bases that use double stacked external tool cupboards. And to take the cupboard on the 3rd floor, you're going to need a booster. I targeted this tool cupboard down here in the lower right because it's closest to the base and I may be able to build onto the gates. If the base has a high external stone compound, I would suggest building up a secure raid tower and then rocketing it from the top. Be sure to wall off the 1st and 2nd floors. I don't do that right here, but you should. Once you're high enough to see into the compound, look for a spot on the walls where you can take out multiple things at once. The rocket will splash about 1 foundation in every direction. At this point you need to hurry up and get the cupboard because people will be coming after all those rockets. Start blowing into the first floor of the external. Once you've taken the bottom floor cupboard, you can make a foundation with stairs and then boost up to the third one. Now you'll have your friend boost up, get the cupboard, and then come build you up. I'm not going to show you building the raid tower. There are plenty of videos out there if you don't know how. But you should know it can't be more than 6 stories above the base, otherwise you'll die when you fall. Always check around, make sure it's clear, and then go for the jump. Once you're on top, the hardest part's over. Either shoot down your raid tower, or if you sealed off the base, it's okay, just leave it up. Immediately start breaking the hatch. It only takes a half a clip of explosive ammo and 1 rocket for a hatch. Don't immediately drop down. Check to see if there's a door. If it's sheet metal, you can take it out with 1 rocket and half a clip, just like the hatch. So one common loot room will have both double doors right next to each other, and you can just use 4 rockets up here in the top and destroy 2 of them at once. Or they might be pretty dumb and not have any doors, or have left their doors open and you can access all their loot immediately. Another way is an airlocked loot room. In this case, they armored off the loot room and there's an airlock to reach it. In this scenario, you can just throw 3C4 on the armored wall and get the loot. If you're playing on a modded server where it has /remove available, they might seal their loot off behind a stone wall, and then when they get on, remove it. If you don't have enough boosters to boost the loot out, you're going to have to start blowing your way out through the edges. The sun will actually bleed through the outer walls of the base, so you know when you're 1 wall away from hitting outside. You can also see through sheet metal walls. You might be able to tell if there's a cupboard or loot inside of the room. That's all I have for you guys for this video. If I missed anything, make sure to leave a comment and let me know. Also, if you hit the jackpot on one of your raids, make sure to send it to us using our About page on our channel and use the email given there. Peace out guys, good luck raiding.